Yeah, boss of YouTube. I don't know why I did that. How's it going, everybody? After you guys today, a really good close NU Wi-Fi battle I had against CTSD off of my Discord. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to wood hammer that like button down below. Also, let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite choice scarf Pokemon? Because in NU there are some very potent choice scarf mons. For example, Scarf Rotom Mo, Scarf Embor, Scarf Sock even is something that I've seen a couple times. I've seen a couple Scarf Mismages, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, let me know what your favorite just choice scarf Pokemon is in general, what your favorite choice scarf mon is in general in the comment section below. So going into this battle, I'm using a really old team that I don't think I've ever used in a Wi-Fi battle before, as I am using a team that's actually kind of weak to Choice Banded Sneasel, Xatu, and even Embor, funny enough, because again, this is an old team. The problem with old teams is that they're not up to date with the new current threats in the NU tier. So going into this battle, I really felt like I didn't have a good matchup at all, but that's not to say I'm trying to lose this battle. So he ends up leading off with the Xatu as I lead off with my Slowking. Turn 1, he hard switches into the Mismages, as of course my track record with Fire Blast is that I just miss them all the time. So that kind of did suck, not gonna lie, but that extra bit of damage on Mismages really doesn't end up mattering too much in this battle. As I switch directly into my Kamala here, since I am max Def, I expected him to want to go for a Z move, but he doesn't end up doing that at all. He's actually going to switch out this turn on the off chance that I may have had the Shadow Claw, but this is actually a mono attacking Kamala. As he brings in the Sneasel, I'm going to go straight for the return. I need to weaken the Sneasel as much as possible. If not, I may be able to knock it out with the return. Unfortunately though, Sneasel is able to barely live on like 5%, and that amount of damage off on Sneasel is actually very huge, because not only is it in range of Stealth Rocks, but it turns out that it's in range of being able to get killed by my Rotom's Shadow Ball or Volt Switch as well, so it's going to be really nice. However though, this Steelix is kind of stopping my Rotom from really doing entirely too much in this battle. Like, if I'm able to get rid of the Steelix, then Rotom should be a pretty big issue for him to deal with, which is why I actually go for the Future Sight here, thinking that he would try and switch out and not let Steelix take any unnecessary damage. But I'm guessing he thought that I would expect the switch out here, which is why he stays in and goes for the Toxic, which is a little bit annoying, but Toxic isn't entirely too much of a problem for Slowking since it does have the Regenerator ability, so I don't plan to stay in for too many turns, as I will be able to take this chance to be aggressive, go for the Scald, as I'm able to burn the incoming Mismages. I don't know if that burn actually ends up mattering too much. It might have, because after this burn, it turns out that he's actually going to be in range of where Future Sight might be able to knock him out. Now, I don't want to take a potential never-ending nightmare, and him trying to switch into Sneasel, in my opinion, is entirely too risky for him to do, because I can easily just go for a Scald. So what I'm going to do is make a middle ground switch into my Kamala here, as I will be able to chew this Thunderbolt. The Future Sight will be strong enough to knock out the Mismagius. So yeah, the Fire Blast miss turn 1 literally does not matter at all, but that burn did kind of help me out here, being able to take out the Mismagius as he gets a free switch into the Xatu. It turns out the Xatu is Calm Mind, and this is absolutely terrifying, because my best answer to try and stop the Xatu from just Calm Minding and sweeping me is to Dragon Tail him out with my Slowking, because there's a chance that this Xatu could be a Z-move Xatu, which means I'm not going to be able to trick it with my Rotom, and I would much rather keep the Scarf on my Rotom, which means Slowking has even more pressure on it in this battle, and now I have to find some way to not just let this Xatu freely set up in front of whatever it comes in on. So I switch directly into my Slowking as he goes for a second Calm Mind. Turns out that he's got the Sword Power, which is actually just a little bit annoying, because if he boosts up enough, that is going to be stronger than Psychic and is going to be hitting even harder. So I have to go for the Dragon Tail here, get off a clean like 3 or 4% with the Dragon Tail, as I Dragon Tail him into the Steelix. This is actually kind of good for me, because now I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to go straight for the Scald. He literally has no safe switch into Scald here. Like, I could have potentially burned whatever he might have wanted to try and switch into my Slowking. I don't get the burn on the Steelix, which is perfectly fine. Getting off that big hit on Steelix is going to be really good for my Rotom to not be able to come in and knock it out with a Shadow Ball if I feel aggressive in switching it in. But I would much rather not do that because there may be an instance where I have to take a Choice Banded Ice Shard from the Sneasel, so I have to switch out here into my Vileplume as a middle ground play because there was a good chance that he was going to try and Heavy Slam here, just expecting me to maybe try to bring in the Rotom on the Earthquake, but again, really didn't want to risk that. Plus, by bringing in my Vileplume, I knew I could take an Earthquake, and there was a chance that I might have been able to get off the Effect Spore on Steelix if he did go for the Heavy Slam, but does not happen, which is actually fine by me because what this allows me to do is go straight for the Sleep Powder. I was very confident that he wouldn't risk switching Xatu in on a potential Sludge Bomb, and even if I didn't Sludge Bomb and I went for Giga Drain, I could then just spam Sludge Bomb because he is stored power. He's not going to be doing entirely too much damage with a non-boosted store power, so I thought Sleep Powder in the end was my best play to do. There was also the chance that maybe he would have tried to switch into his Garbodor, so putting that to sleep and preventing it from getting up spikes would have been absolutely amazing as I hard switch directly into my Machamp here. He actually switches out into his Garbodor. Now, unfortunately, this Machamp does not have Earthquake, which, you know, would be really awesome in this scenario because I would not have to worry about Rocky Helmet damage. But it turns out that he doesn't have the Rocky Helmet, and he actually just goes straight for the Gunk Shot. And this is perfectly fine because now this next turn, I will be able to go for another Facade, live the Aftermath damage, and live the burn damage as well, which means I will be able to see what his switching is to this monster. If for some reason he does want to try to bring in the Sneasel, he's going to be locked potentially into Ice Shard, and I can use that to my advantage. Although his better switching would most likely be the Emboar, or if he's running a very fast Xatu, that could have definitely come in as well. So he does end up bringing in the Emboar here. I'm going to go straight for the Bullet Punch and do a clean like 6-8-ish% with the Bullet Punch. Honestly, any bit of chip damage on this Emboar at this point in the battle is really good because I need to weaken this Emboar to put it in range of where my Rotom could potentially come in and revenge kill it. So I'm going to switch into my Slowking here. Unfortunately, after Stealth Rocks, I am in range of where a high roll Reckless boosted Flare Blitz won't be able to knock me out, so obviously I don't want to risk that, and there's a chance that he might have felt like being aggressive and just going for it right away. So I decide to try and sack off my Kamala here, but he actually switches out into the Steelix, and I really wished I had gone for the Scald, but that actually might have been really bad for me, because if I had gone for the Scald and I knocked out the Steelix on the switch in, that would have given him a free switch into the Sneasel to then potentially Pursuit Trap me. So that could have been, again, just really bad because then I don't have a switch in to Flare Blitz coming from Emboar. So I guess switching out here in the long run was definitely the best play I could have made, as I am going to spin away the rocks. I am then going to take the chance to go for the Wish, because what this allows me to do is potentially pass off the Wish to my Slowking, or be able to bring my Kamala back up to a high amount of HP so I can then switch it into a Flare Blitz coming from the Emboar and rack up that burn damage. But I didn't want to risk him potentially waking up here and thinking that he could just go straight for the Earthquake, which might have actually been able to knock me out. Plus, I don't have a move that does any damage to the Steelix. Like, Return is going to be doing 2%, honestly, so I really felt that switching out here was my better play. Plus, if I'm able to keep my Slowking at a high enough amount of HP, I can still switch it in and out, gain Regenerator HP, and have it as a safe switch in to the Emboar. So, it turns out that this entire time, it's been a speed tie between my Slowking and his Steelix. Now, my Slowking is running 12 speed EVs, which means he is also running 12 speed EVs on his Steelix, so I'm going to have to kind of speed creep a little bit more. And Scald does do a solid amount of damage, enough to the point where now a Shadow Ball from my Rotom won't be able to knock him out. So I decided to switch out here and just sack off my Kamala, because in theory, it looks like I can definitely win this battle just with my Scarf Rotom, because he doesn't really have a good switch in to Shadow Ball. Unfortunately though, the Emboar is still at a high amount of HP, which means I need to weaken that more and guarantee it to put it in range of where I can knock it out with my Rotom. So I will be able to bring in my Rotom here. As long as I stay at above 50% HP, there's no way a Choice Banded Ice Shard from Sneasel will be able to knock me out. So at this point, I can just basically claim a kill. Emboar's gonna get 2-KO'd. Steelix gets knocked out, Xatu gets 2 KO'd, and Sneasel gets knocked out as well. So I'm able to get rid of the Steelix. In comes the Emboar. At this point, I have to potentially choose a Death Water, so I decided to sack off my Vileplume. Honestly, Vileplume is not doing anything else in this battle. He gets beat by his last 3 mons, the Xatu, Sneasel, and this Emboar. Plus, again, I could potentially get Effect Spore on this Emboar, maybe being able to paralyze it or put it to sleep, and then that'll be really good for me. So he's able to knock me out. As I bring in my Rotom here, I will be able to safely go for the Volt Switch and allow this Emboar to rack up more recoil damage on itself, and I will be able to put it in range of where I can then just safely revenge kill him. So sorry, I'm gonna bring in my Slowking here on the Flare Blitz. The main reason I chose Slowking as opposed to potentially stacking off my Steelix was because Steelix at least can beat the Sneasel if it really comes down to it. If I sack my Steelix, then my Slowking loses to this Emboar and the Sneasel. While I guess, yes, I could have potentially Dragon-tailed out the Xatu. If Xatu is his last Pokemon and he gets a Calm Mind, he wins the battle anyways. So I decided to Dragon-tail this turn on the off chance that he did try to switch into a Xatu, as it is going to be a double down. This is really good for me because now I get a free switch back into my Rotom, and I am definitely out of range of where a Choice Banded Ice Shard will knock me out. Unless he gets a crit, there is no way this Ice Shard should be able to knock me out here. So thankfully, I don't get unlucky, and I'm able to take the Ice Shard. And at this point, his last Pokemon is the Xatu, which if he's only running max HP and no Spadef EVs, the minimum damage that Thunderbolt does is 95%. So that Dragon Tail chip damage I got off with my Slowking actually ends up really helping me out here, because if this Xatu had lived the Thunderbolt, he would have been able to knock out my Rotom, and then my Steelix loses to Xatu 1v1. So thankfully I was able to pull out the victory there at the end. Rotom, man, just really putting in a lot of work in this battle. This is like the main reason I wanted to ask you guys, like, what's your favorite choice Scarf Mon? Because I myself have not used Scarf Rotom in a while, and in this battle I may try it out some more in some NU games. So yeah, again, let me know what your favorite choice Scarf Pokemon is in the comment section below, and make sure to hammer arm that like button as well. With all that being said, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. So later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.